Hi there. I want to talk to you about one of the most amazing live appearances that I have done so far in my career. It was July 28th, 2019 at the Newport Folk Festival in Newport, Rhode Island. So in 2019, Jay reached out to the Muppet Studio and asked if Kermit could come and be a part of the festival that year. And it was such an exciting prospect because really it's such an eclectic group of awesome artists, and I was so eager to go be a part of this festival. And thankfully, we were given the green light to appear at the Newport Folk Festival, and Kermit was going to sing, of course, Rainbow Connection, with Jim James, the solo artist who is also from My Morning Jacket. And I asked Peter Linz to join me to play Kermit's banjo for the number, and he was super excited to go as well. And when we got there, the day before our performance, there was this big handwritten sign that I just loved. And it said in big colorful letters, "Be present, be kind, be open, be together." It was such a beautiful message to greet us as we arrived. We had a rehearsal that night, but we got there early so that we could see Maggie Rogers perform, who my wife and I, we both love her. And we also got to pop in and see Dawes, and we also loved them. It was incredible. Our rehearsal that night, we were ushered into a small rehearsal space, and I was introduced to a man named Chris who was going to play guitar, and he was leading the band of musicians that were backing Kermit. And then it kind of hit me, it dawned on me that the guitar player Chris was Chris Funk from the Decemberists. The drummer was Janet Weiss, formerly of Sleater-Kinney. Belmont Tench played keyboards with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and the bass player was John Stirratt from Wilco. Now, that is some backing band. And we also had a fantastic string quartet along for the ride. And then Jim James came in, and he was so nice and really excited to be there, like I was. And we did a rehearsal, no frog, just Jim James, this incredible band, and me. And my wife Kelly got some video of that.
Somebody follow that, someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? What do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
It was so cool. You know, I've got a band, the Mighty Weaklings, and I love those guys, but man, sitting in with these pros was incredible. It was such an honor. Then I brought Kermit out to say hello to a few people, and that was our night. We would be back the next afternoon to sing as part of the festival's Pete Seeger tribute set called If I Had a Song, and it was kind of a sing-along. So the day of the show, we met Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters, who was going to play the banjo for Kermit. Sorry, Kermit doesn't really play his own banjo. And we rehearsed with Chris, and he was fantastic as well. And then we traveled over to the stage at the fort. No one knew that Kermit was going to be at the festival. In fact, there were a bunch of surprise guests there that day, including someone who was draped in a long black shawl, but you could see her high heels. And my wife leaned over to me and she said, "That's Dolly Parton." And she was right. Dolly Parton was going to be there as well, and she was getting ready to go on while we were going on. So Peter and I checked out the stage along with our production manager Michael Steinbach from the Muppet Studio, and Peter McKinnon, who was our puppet wrangler from Puppet Heap. And we made sure that our monitors were working while Peter McKinnon rigged the banjo to Kermit. You know, we do that so it doesn't fall off. And we also secured him to the stool that was made for him. And the plan was to keep Kermit hidden and place him on stage while Peter and I got into position. There were no curtains or anything, just the stage and a huge sea of people. Jay was going to introduce Kermit, and then Michael and Peter would step away, revealing Kermit the Frog. And when that happened, there was this rush of energy, this surprise, thrill, exhilaration, you name it. We all are in that moment. As the sign said that day before, we were all being present, kind, open, and together. And Peter started to pluck Kermit's banjo while Chris actually played his banjo backstage, right? And the band kicked in and Kermit started singing. And then he called out Jim James to this huge ovation, and we did the song. And everybody sang along. And before I knew it, it was over. And being at the Newport Folk Festival last year was one of the coolest, most electrifying feelings, performing that iconic song of Kermit's in that moment, at that place, for those people, and I will never forget it. And so I want to thank Jay Sweet and everyone at Newport Folk Festival, along with the band, Chris, Janet, Ben, John, Chris, Jim, and everyone that helped our team out. Thanks to the Muppet Studio, David, Lee, and Michael for making it happen, and to Peter McKinnon for the expert wrangling. Of course, Peter Linz for playing with me, and my wife Kelly for documenting it all. I hope to get back there someday.
You know, I sure do love this festival, don't you? Yeah. This is a place where people and frogs can come together and share a very special connection. You might even call it a rainbow connection. Yeah, if you know the words, sing along, okay? Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. Please welcome my friend, Jim James.
He said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star.
Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far.
What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of a sudden it's spell. We know that it's probably magic.
Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices?
I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors?
The voice might be one and the same.
I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da doo. La da 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 dee da da doo. Thanks, Kermit.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody. Let's hear it for Jim James. And the lovers, the dreamers, and all of you. Thank you and good night.